Welcome to Movie Rehash. Today, I am going to explain an action thriller movie released in 2022 titled The 355. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie starts in a place in South America, near Colombia. A big-time criminal named Elijah Clark talks to a local drug leader, Santiago, and his son, Geronimo. Geronimo shows Clark a super powerful weapon that can control computers and networks globally. To prove it works, they use it to control a flying plane. Clark really likes the weapon, so he and his gang kill Santiago and Geronimo to grab it for them. However, the police show up, and Clark has to run away. A government agent named Luis Rojas finds the device with the superweapon, and he takes it. In the CIA office at Langley, the bosses find out that Luis has the superweapon drive and wants to sell it to ensure the safety of his family. Director Larry Marks talks to Agent Mace Brown and her partner Nick Fowler about getting the drive back. Mace and Nick come up with a plan where they pretend to be a couple on their honeymoon. However, there's a real attraction between the two agents. Mace and Nick head to Paris and go to a cafe where Luis is supposed to meet them for the exchange. However, another agent named Marie Schmidt, pretending to be a cafe server, intercepts their bag. Mace goes after Marie, and Nick pursues Luis. Mace follows Marie down into the subway, but Marie manages to escape on a train with the package, only to discover it's the money meant for Luis. Meanwhile, Nick chases Luis through the streets but loses him. In an alley, Nick is confronted by Clark and one of his henchmen, asking if he has the drive. Nick denies having it. Luis returns to his room, where he encounters a psychologist named Graciela Rivera. She tries to get him to reveal where he's hiding the drive, assuring him that he can trust her. Meanwhile, Marie reports to her boss, Jonas Muller, about the situation and the details they've gathered on Mace and Nick. Although Jonas wants Marie to stay there where she is currently at, she convinces him to let her go after the drive. Mace goes back to Langley, where Marks delivers the heartbreaking news that Nick was shot and killed. Devastated, Mace is told to find the drive on her own. She travels to London to meet with Khadija Adiyim, an old friend and a cyber intelligence expert. After attending Khadija's presentation, Mace tries to convince her to join the mission, but Khadija is content with her current life in London with her partner Abdul and wants to leave their past work behind. However, Mace emphasizes the seriousness of the mission, explaining that the wrong people getting hold of the drive could lead to Third World War. Concerned about the consequences, Khadija decides to help Mace gather information on Marie and Luis to track down the latter. Mace and Khadija follow Luis and Graciela to a factory, where Marie is also searching for them. As they get closer to Luis, one of his fellow agents betrays him and shoots him. Meanwhile, Mace faces off against Marie. Khadija goes after the shooter, who manages to escape on a boat, leading Mace and Marie on a pursuit. Graciela stays with Luis until he passes away, and he gives her a phone that can only be unlocked with her fingerprint. Marie locates Graciela and takes her to a safe place, but Mace and Khadija track them down. Mace and Marie face off, but Khadija steps in to calm the situation. They decide to set aside their differences and team up. Utilizing Luis's phone and Graciela's fingerprint, Khadija traces the shooter to Morocco. The women head to Marrakesh and locate the villain in a busy market. After discreetly following him through the crowd, they successfully intercept the drive and secure it. Khadija decrypts the contents of the drive, and they later plan to deliver it to Marks. After their mission, the ladies go out for drinks, bonding and discovering that Marie's father was a double agent for Russia, and she had to expose him. Meanwhile, back at the CIA headquarters, when Mark is leaving the office, an unknown woman enters, attacks Marks, and fatally shoots him. Later, the women watch news reports about multiple plane crashes and power grids going down in 2 cities, realizing that the drive has fallen into the wrong hands. Upon returning to headquarters, they find Mark's dead body. Other CIA agents, led by Grady, arrive to apprehend them, but the ladies turn the tables, disarming the agents before making their escape. They manage to capture the shooter, intending to extract information from him. To force him to talk, Marie shoots him in the leg, creating a situation where he could bleed to death unless he cooperates. The shooter eventually gives in and reveals details about an auction happening in Shanghai, China. They apply a tourniquet to prevent him from bleeding to death. The team travels to Shanghai in disguise to attend the auction. Graciela, new to field work, faces the advances of a flirtatious thug. Mace is shocked to discover that Nick, presumed dead, is actually alive. However, Her surprise turns to dismay when she learns he's working with Clark and is after the drive. Mace engages in a fight with one of Clark's henchmen, while Nick takes part in the auction. He later discovers that the woman who killed Marks is present with her father, holding the drive. Nick successfully buys the drive, but as the police approach, Marie triggers an explosion. The woman then intervenes, calling off the officers and inviting the ladies to meet with her. The woman reveals herself as Lin Mixing, a Chinese agent who has been tracking the drive as well. She discloses that Marks was part of the plan with Clark. Lin and her father have gathered information on various criminals at the auction, including the one who was flirting with Graciela. Lin further shares that she possesses the genuine drive. Meanwhile, Nick goes to Clark and he realizes that Nick doesn't have the drive. He orders his men to beat him up. Nick and his henchmen later track the ladies to their safe house. Displaying separate screens, they reveal that their men have also found Abdul, Jonas, and Graciela's husband and children, and they all held at gunpoint. Nick, showing no mercy, has his men kill Lin's father, Jonas, and then Abdul. Faced with the imminent danger to Graciela's family, the ladies reluctantly give in and hand over the drive. Nick and his crew take the drive and Lin, who is needed to operate it. After grieving their losses, the women decide to pursue Nick when they discover that Lin's glasses have a camera, allowing them to monitor her movements. Nick takes Lin to his hotel, pressuring her to decrypt the drive, while the team plans an attack. They engage in a fierce shootout with Nick's henchmen, and Lin joins the fight, holding her own. After eliminating most of the adversaries, Mace confronts Nick. In the scuffle, Marie is shot in the shoulder, and Nick nearly overpowers Mace before Graciela intervenes, shooting Nick. Law enforcement arrives to apprehend the women, but Khadija destroys the drive before they can be arrested. 2 months later, Nick hunts down Clark and kills him. Deviously, he returns to the CIA, manipulating his way to become the new director, with Grady aiding him in tracking down Mace and the others, who are now considered fugitives. Mace takes matters into her own hands and discovers Nick at his home, joined by Khadija, Graciela, Marie, and Lin. They slip poison into Nick's drink, revealing their plan to turn him in for his crimes and have him placed in an international prison. The women leave, going their separate ways until they are called to work together again. In this way, movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more interesting movie recaps.